am the 8th grade social studies teacher for Highlander Way, or one of the two, I should say. And I want to welcome you tonight to our DC meeting. Also want to introduce who everyone should know, Dr. Moore, for our principal here at Highlander Way. We're going to go through the basics of the DC trip for our 8th graders this year. We have a special addition to it this year. We'll be also going to Philadelphia, which is something new that we're trying out this year with our 8th graders, so we're really excited for that. My plan is to go through the slideshow right here. Most of the information you've seen here is reflected in the packets that you got. Your packet includes a lot of good information, including a copy of this very same slideshow, but everything's going to be sent out digitally to you guys probably tomorrow or early next week as well. So without any further ado, our dates for the trip are going to be April 22nd through 25th. So that's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then we'll get back early Saturday morning. So probably something around like 6 in the morning. The first day on Wednesday, we'll head out here at 4 a.m. I know, guys, it's really early. We get up pretty early. I have to get up earlier than you guys do. So the reason being that we want to get an early start so we can get to DC and start seeing things. So the earlier start we get, the more traffic we miss, the quicker we get there, and the more we can make use of that day. Don't worry, you can sleep on the bus. It's perfectly okay. On the way, we will stop at rest stops approximately every 3 hours. So we have rest stops. They're the service plazas. If you've ever been on I-80 before, they have lots of those service plazas you can stop at. Really easy to get on and off, get a quick bathroom break, and get back on the buses. Each bus will also have a restroom in it as well. These are charter buses, not school buses. So on the charter bus itself, we'll be able to get to take a bathroom break on there if there's some kind of emergency. When we're on our way, we will get a pre-ordered lunch en route. So one of the things that you'll be able to do once you've registered and we get a little bit closer to the date, you'll be able to select a meal for that lunch en route, and we stop, pick it up. It's like a boxed lunch. It's usually a choice between like a cheeseburger, chicken sandwich, salad, or other, if you have a special dietary thing, they can take care of that as well. But we'll eat that on the bus so we can just get there as quickly as we can. We'll get to the Smithsonian's museums first, where we'll take a chance to go to one of the Smithsonian museums with your group. You'll get a $15 allowance to go to dinner, and then we'll end that evening with an illuminated tour of the DC National Mall, where we'll go to like the Lincoln Memorial, the World War II Memorial, Vietnam Memorial, Korean Memorial, and we'll actually be going in the evening with a guided, there'll be a guided tour, so there'll be a guide with each of the bus groups, and they'll actually take us around as the darkness is descending and everything's lighting up, and it's really, really beautiful. The buses we're going with are Go Right Away Transportation. We'll have, usually every single year we've had 3 buses with Highlander Way, and then Parker has another 3. Restroom on board, there are luggage bays down below. Students are allowed to bring a backpack that they can have up on the upper part of the bus, and then one piece of luggage that they can stow underneath. They won't have access to that luggage for the duration of the trip until we get to the hotel. So that's just meant for things that you need for like your overnight, your pajamas, your clothes for the next day, that sort of thing. They can have a backpack upstairs with them where they can keep stuff that they might need for that day or might need immediate access to. Guess what? These buses all have DVD players. Kids, those are those round circle things, the holes in the middle we used to watch movies on, okay? No one uses I have not brought a DVD with me on this trip for 5 or 6 years. Maybe like more like 6, 7 years. But most people just watch the videos on their phones or do that sort of thing. You are allowed to have your phone on the trip. And it's actually encouraged because the Student Adventures app allows me to send text messages to all of the students on their cell phones to give them updates about when we're stopping, where we're going, and all that kind of thing. It's also good to have that so that they can contact us if there was a chance that someone got separated or needed assistance in some way. All the buses have overhead compartments that you can store your backpack in. Driver is with the bus and it's locked when he's not in there, so it's safe to leave things on the buses themselves. There is a tag that all the students will get from Student Adventures when we go with their name on it. That also includes an emergency number that you always have access to as well. So if there was an emergency and you couldn't get a hold of myself or another staff member on the trip or your child, you could call that number and they can contact our tour director and get us a hold of us where we're at, our hotel, wherever it might be. It's also on the card, so if your student gets separated for some reason, maybe they took a wrong turn, they were looking at their phone, which I know would never happen, they could call that number and they can get us in touch with us to get us back to the bus. One of the things that we'll have on it are bump drivers. Our drivers are only allowed to travel with us for a certain amount of time, and Student Adventures is very mindful of that. So halfway along the trip, we'll switch drivers so we have fresh ones for the second half of the trip. Same thing on the way back. So we always have fresh drivers who are ready to go. In the hotel's room where we're staying, we'll have overnight security. We have security that stays in each one of the hallways. They do not go into students' rooms, but they monitor outside to make sure students are not leaving the room and no one is trying to do anything to their hotel rooms. There's one guard per floor. There's separate ones for the boys and the girls, and they're great. There are actual companies in DC that cater to this when all these groups come, and they have trained professionals who are background checked to do that. And they give me a nice report in the morning of anyone's room. If they were talking loud at 1 a.m., I get a report about that, and I get to have a nice conversation with them. Yeah, that's going to be you. I know it is. So there's no names. They get no names of who's in the room or anything like that. They only get the room numbers of where we have kids. So they will only intervene if they think that there's something dangerous going on, and they'll come get myself or another staff member, and we're the ones who would be with 2 other adults to go and address that. The security guards will not do that on their own. Speaking of the hotel, we will be staying at the Hilton Washington Dulles. We stayed there last year. It was a fantastic hotel. It's about 45 minutes out of the city, which is a bit of a drive, but we are going in prime time for 8th grade trips to go there. So getting hotels is challenging at times, and we've had a really good relationship with this particular hotel. It's big, it's spacious, it has rooms to accommodate our group for breakfast. So we'll actually have breakfast at the hotel each morning. They have a conference room that they set up for us. Actually, I think they had 2 conference rooms last year for us. And they have this really nice buffet breakfast that they set up for us every morning, and we'll have breakfast right there. All the long distance, pay-per-view, all that stuff's turned off in the room, so you don't have to worry about them ordering anything on their TVs or anything like that. And everything has an indoor access, meaning it's an interior corridor. So there's no balcony or anything that a student might try to get out or have fun at or anything like that. We've thought this through. Day 2 is Thursday, April 22nd. We are going to start with a group photo in front of the Capitol building. There's an example of one right up here. This is an optional thing that you can purchase when you go to register if you'd like your student to have a souvenir photo of the trip. This is like a panoramic one in front of the Capitol. We put a copy upstairs as part of a collection that we do every single year. But each of you could purchase one as well, and you'll get mailed to you before the end of the school year before we leave. But it's a nice kind of memento from in front of the Capitol. We'll then go inside the Capitol for a guided tour. So we go into the Rotunda, go see the Statuary Hall. We get a guided tour of that, which is really cool. We'll go have lunch. We get about a $20 allowance for lunch. And then we have a half-day guided tour, meaning that we have someone who comes with us who is an expert on DC and goes with each bus. So we have 3 different tour guides, and they take us around various sites in and around the White House, Arlington. We'll be going to Arlington National Cemetery, which is one of the largest cemeteries in the nation, and we'll be going to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier there and actually be part of a wreath-laying ceremony. The tomb is a spot where they have dedicated to any soldier who has been lost, whose remains are cannot be found or can't be identified. So they have guards who are guarding it 24/7, and they process back and forth. It's a really impressive thing to watch. And then we'll have several of our students who will actually participate in laying a wreath on behalf of Highlander Way Middle School itself. And it's a really cool honor. We'll have an essay contest to determine what students might want to do that. And then that night, after we're done with all that, we're going to go to a place called Smoky Glen Farms, which is this kind of it's just outside of DC. It's a farm that caters to large groups. They have some of the best barbecue chicken I've ever had. And then they have a playground for the kids. They have a baseball field. They have putt-putt golf. They have a DJ with a dance and stuff like that. And then Parker actually joins us at that location. So if your student has friends at Parker, we all kind of get together and have a kind of a celebratory time there on Thursday night. There's a couple pictures here from the Smoky Glen site. So you can see they have volleyball, they got basketball, that's some of that delicious barbecue chicken, and they have pies. They come out at the end of the night with these big pies that everyone can just take as many slices from as they can. And it's all you can eat, so it's really good. She's just coming for the pies now at this point. Yeah. You know how many pies you have to have, right? 3.14? That was a math joke. Okay, all right. Day 3, Friday, we're going to get up early and we're going to head up to Philadelphia, which is a couple-hour trip north. And this is the part that's new. We have not done this before. And we're going to be heading out to the National Constitution Center. That is this fantastic museum just about a block or so from Independence Hall. We'll also be going to see the We the People presentation, which I've not seen before. It's going to be presented there at the Constitution Center. We'll get lunch there in Philadelphia, and then we're going to head over to Independence Hall, where both the Constitution and the Declaration were signed. We'll do a walking tour. We'll see Ben Franklin's print shop. We'll see Betsy Ross's house. We'll go to Christ Church. We'll also stop and see the Liberty Bell, and we'll also be taking a trip to the Rocky Steps, where we can run up the Rocky Steps. No, kids, Rocky is a movie from the 80s, where... 70s, sorry. Some of them for the 80s, and he's famously running up the stairs in there. And then we return to Highlander Way that next morning, so we do an overnight trip back to Highlander Way. So you can sleep on the bus over, and then we'll get here early in the morning. We'll send a text message out to all the parents to say, hey, we're 30 minutes away, we're 15 minutes away, so you can kind of anticipate when to arrive, so you don't just have to sit up all night waiting for us to get back. So this is kind of just an overview of everything that's included here in the trip. Some of these things I probably even skipped over because I've been on it so many times I probably forgot about them. We're going to go see the Iwo Jima Memorial. We'll go through Arlington. I've said that. We get 2 breakfasts at the hotel. All the meals are included. Lots of great times there, and this is all in your sheet, so you can take a look at the same list at your own convenience. If you know you want to register for this trip, there is a QR code on the very front page. And there's also a link that we're going to send out later as well that you can go to. But you can register for it. You go into the website. There's a code that we have that will be on right here. It's HW2724, and that's also in your packets. That registers you for Highlander Way. You don't want to register for Parker because that will be really awkward on the day of that you suddenly have to go to Parker with a bunch of people you don't know. The overall cost per student is $941. That's with 4 people in each hotel room. If a parent wants to go, that's $1,088, but we have you in 2 people per room. Now, if a parent wanted to team up with like 3 other parents and go in a quad room, they can do that and then get the student price, but most parents don't want to be 4 to a room, and so we just kind of default to that option. But you can do that if you find some people that you want to go with. If you wanted a single room, you just want that space to lay in an X on the bed and go to sleep, that's $1,382. The payment schedule for the student is shown right here. So it's broken up throughout the year. You can do it in payments. And then we're also going to do 2 fundraisers as well. One will be a Little Caesars fundraiser that we'll do in January. And the other one is a Century Resources fundraiser we'll do in November. The one in November is nice because we try to gear the catalog for that for stuff that you might want to get for Christmas time. So if you have like a lot of little gifts you need to get for people, it's a good resource to buy those things, and then some of the profits go into the your account as well. Both of those fundraisers probably won't actually get into your accounts until probably mid-January to early February, so just kind of keep that in mind. The fundraisers go in about the time at the end of the balances. So a lot of parents ask me that, like, why isn't my fundraiser in there yet? Well, it takes time to process it, and we got to get them the check, and there's a lot of logistics behind it as well. Yeah.
Just real quick, too, if you sign up as a parent, you're automatically waitlisted.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. So because we don't know how many kids are going to be going at first, if you register as a parent, you are automatically waitlisted. That doesn't mean you can't go. It means we need to see how many kids we have first before we can determine the number of parents. Right now, we could take the entire 8th grade class if we wanted to. We can add a 4th bus, a 5th bus if we needed to. But by September 26th, I think is the cutoff date, we'll make a determination based on the numbers we have of how many buses we can take. Usually, every single other year, it's been 3 buses. And depending how many kids we have total, that limits how many spots we have and maybe how many chaperones we can take or how many chaperones that we need. So when you register, you'll be waitlisted, but please don't worry about that. We'll have if we have more chaperones than we require, we'll do a lottery. We have a random name generator that I use, and I just pick the first, whatever names we need from it. And then everyone else gets kind of on a standby list in case one of the other chaperones can't make it. And usually there's 2 or 3 chaperones who find out by that time that there's a work trip or something comes up and they can't make it, and then we can go to that backup list. Anything you want to add to that, Dr. Moore? Okay. Now, in order to go on the trip, there are certain requirements. Your academics in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd quarter need to be a passing grade. So anything above a D-. So if you are failing a class in any of your classes in quarter 1, quarter 2, or quarter 3, that could disqualify you from the trip. Every quarter, we have a meeting with all the 8th graders who are going on the DC trip, and we talk to them about their grades. They do a grade check, and we discuss, okay, who's eligible to go, who is not, and what you need to do. If you are found to be ineligible, you get one appeal. You write a letter to myself, Dr. Moore, and Mrs. Craig, and you explain what happened, what you're going to do differently, how you plan to change things, and then we have a discussion about that, and we see if we can get you back on the trip. But you only get one of those. So if you fail something first and second quarter, then you are unfortunately off the trip. There's only that one possible get back on. If you get suspended 3 or more days, you're automatically off the trip. So suspensions get you kicked off the trip if you have 3 or more. If you have more than 15 total absences, and these are unexcused absences throughout the year, if you're getting close and that's going to be a problem, we'll let you know way ahead of time, because if you're getting up to 15 absences, you're probably getting notified in other ways as well. So it would be something that would be on your radar if that's happening. In your packet, the very last page, you'll see this one right here that says, remove this page, return it to your social studies teacher. If your student is going to go on the trip, I need this page back. This is the only physical piece of paperwork I need from you, because it tells me that you're permitting your kid to go, and we also can give them emergency treatment on the trip. We have thankfully never had an emergency happen on the trip. What I've had is students come on the trip sick or already hurt. I had a student about 3 or 4 years ago who had poked his hand during a science lab, and it got infected, and he didn't tell me until the second day of trip when his hand was the size of a baseball. And we ended up having to go to the emergency room. But the only way the emergency room would treat him is if I had this right here. So this is really important to get back to me. Your student can either drop it off to myself, or if they have Mrs. Craig, they can give it to Mrs. Craig and she'll give it to me. But I'm up in room 206, so if they want to just give it to me directly, they can. But this is a page I need to get back if your student is going on the trip. It's not I can't have a digital form for this because it's something I need to physically carry with us on the trip itself. That's the registration website right there. So if you still need the QR code, it is up there. My email address is up there, hilljay@howellschools.com. So if you have questions, you can certainly email me if you think of something later on about that. Dr. Moore, anything you want to add that I might have glazed over or not gotten to?
It's a fantastic trip. I always get the question of like, hey, my kid's never been like away out of state for that long period of time. Is that all right? The answer is yes. Every year we have 3 or 4 kids in that same boat, and they have an absolute blast the moment the bus pulls out of the line. They're normally tired by the end of the night. They fall asleep right away. It's one of the 8th grade experiences that when we talk to the high school seniors, they say that this was the memory they remember from middle school. So if it's something that you guys can do or you're on the fence about, I would highly encourage you to do it and try it, sign up, and go from there. The only other piece I would say is the insurance.
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me about that. So in your packets, there is a page there that says Cancellation Super Protector. They call it CSP. This is an additional purchase you can make if you want some insurance in case something might happen. So I know April is a long way away. I've had a student who several years ago broke her leg or broke her ankle or something like that 2 weeks before the trip, and she couldn't go. There's no way she could. We do about 10 miles of walking each day, and there's no way just after that injury she was going to be able to do that. She had this insurance. If you can't go on the trip, you get all your money back minus the cost of that insurance. So it's kind of a protection so that you don't lose out on the $940, and it only costs you like I think it's $130 for students. So it's a nice thing to have. It's also nice in case if you're worried that your student might not meet the eligibility requirements. It's good to have that protection. So if they do, because if they get ineligible because of grades or behavior or things like that, there are no refunds. So it is something that the only way you can get a refund on it is if you have that travel insurance. Again, it's an option, but it's something that we really encourage because you never know what's going to happen. And that includes right up to the day of the trip. So if the night before they're throwing up all night and they just can't go on the trip, it would cover you for that as well. In addition, this is already included, but there is travel insurance on everyone for medical as well. So that one student who went to the emergency room, he had most of his emergency room visit covered by the insurance from Student Adventures. So if on the trip your student got sick and had to go to the doctor or something like that, they have coverage for that as well. It's a reimbursement plan, but it's a nice feature so that if you have a deductible or anything like that, you'd be covered for that while they're on the trip. feel like there was something else I was going to mention. I can't think of what it is now. Does it sound? Pardon?
Tool cards?
Oh, the till cards, yeah. So when we go for the meals on the trip, it is by credit card. It's something called a till card, and there's a form in there about it as well. They give you the option from Student Adventures to either use a loaner till card, which is one that's provided by Student Adventures. So on the trip, every student gets a little credit card that just says Student Adventures on it, and you use that to pay for your meal because they're going completely cashless. Because before we were carrying cash for all the students for every meal, and so we were walking around DC with thousands of dollars in a backpack, and it just was not very safe. So we've switched over to credit cards. So you could do that option, but the other option is Till kind of gears itself towards families with kids, and you can actually set up your own Till account that then you can access and you can add money to as well for all the souvenir spending. The students will still get their allowance from Student Adventures for the meals that gets added to the personal Till card if you sign up for it. But then as a parent, you could add money to it as well. So if you have a student, you send them with $50 and they see this really cool souvenir and they need an extra 20, you can do that from your bank account and shoot over an extra $20 for them to go and purchase something. And then they can keep that card even after the trip itself. So that's something they could carry off into high school. So if you want them to have like a debit card for whatever purpose, you can do that. But it's not required to have. They do have the loaner cards, and the loaner cards work just fine. I use one of the loaner cards on the trip because they give one for me for buying my meals, and I've never had an issue with one of the loaner cards. And if there's issue with it, the tour guide is really good at helping to troubleshoot any problems that we've had. It's actually gone fairly smoothly, and it's a lot safer than the cash that we were carrying around before. So again, if you have questions about any of this, please shoot me an email, or I can stay after and talk to questions, or take questions, I should say. Yep. Yeah, that's fine.
Just kind of like my last wrap up. Just in summary, it's the best experience your kids can have in this. Like if I have kids, I trust John and the team that goes every single year. Take it, it's an unbelievable experience. The insurance is key, especially if your kid has like failed a class before, they've gotten that before, or if they've been suspended before. Like I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like I can only send kids to DC that are successful in school. So I do hold pretty firm to that. So if that's happened before, I would highly suggest the insurance. Those are really the only situations I've ever run into where a kid wasn't able to go. If you are interested in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier replaying ceremony, it's one of the coolest honors that I think I've ever seen in education. You have to dress up. You can't wear like jeans or shorts or anything like that because the military takes it extraordinarily serious. And if you can't go on the trip, like I'll video it, give it to you, we'll send pictures up to you. We had kids write like college entrance exams about the time they laid the read Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. It's a really cool experience. There's an essay contest to it that kids absolutely write unreal essays for us. And then we have to sit there and mull over, which essays it is. Parent chaperones, can't guarantee you today that you can go. We do that random name generator, but it is limited on slots there as well. I wish we could take everybody, but just logistically, we can't do that. You guys have any questions like Mr. Hill said?
I remember the thing I wanted to talk about real quick too. So if anyone has a financial issue that they find they need help with at some point, so we do have several people who usually step up and offer to sponsor a student. Like last couple of years, I've had people say, hey, I want to sponsor a student at Highlander Way to Go. That happens occasionally. And then we also have a little bit of a scholarship fund for people who might need a little bit of help. So if that's something that you find that you need, please send me an email and I can get you the form for that to help you out with that. So please don't let financials be too much of an impediment to go on the trip, because we want to make sure everyone can go who can. So we got about 5 minutes here before the health and was it growth and human development thing. Anyone have any questions that I could take real quick for you? Yes. Yes. So medications, if they have a non-prescription medication, they can carry it on their person. There's a form for them to fill out for that. If they have a prescription medication, we have a form for them to fill out for that. But the chaperone who's in charge of the group will hold on to it and has a sheet that marks off like if they need to take it at morning, evening, night, whatever it might be. So we can keep a log of that, just like we do here at school. But the chaperone each chaperone will have about 8 students. So they'd be in charge of making sure those meds get passed.
And we've taken kids with every sort of medical situation, sleep apnea, diabetes, life-threatening seizures. We've taken all the kids on that trip. So we just normally will connect you with the chaperone as well, because sometimes when you send your kid to DC without you, it's terrifying at some stage, depending on the medication they take. So normally we like to connect that parent with that chaperone if they can't go, and then they normally get 1,000 pictures from that chaperone and have a ton of fun with it. So, something we've experienced before. If it's a severe medical situation, we'll just meet with you before we go as well.
And I am first aid trained, and inevitably we usually have like a firefighter or a nurse or a doctor who come on the trip with us too. So we usually have one of those around too. Yes. Great question. So the roommates are 4 to a room, and in February we'll have a meeting where they'll fill out a Google form to request their roommates. And as much as possible, I try to put people who they can be with, who they want to be with. The problem is I have to have 4 to a room due to the logistics of it. So in some cases, if they only put 2 or 3 down that they want, I have to kind of plug someone else into that room. I try to be as fair about it as possible, and I also only put people together whom I can trust to be in a room together. So if I don't think I can trust them to be in a room together, I can't put them together. So there's that factor as well. But wherever possible, I try to honor that since they are sharing a room together, and they probably do want to be with their friends. Whereabouts? Okay, yep, go ahead. They can use their own debit card on the trip, but for the allowances that come from Student Adventures for the food, that will go on to the loaner till card if they don't have their own till card. So they can have both and then just have another debit card that they might already have for making their own purchases. That's perfectly fine.
When you make that $110 payment, they put like $30 of that directly on the till card for the kid. So they absolutely should use the till card first, because then that's not taking money out of their debit account.
Approximately how many kids go on these trips?
So last year we had about 135, which was low, and we usually average probably around 145, and then another 145 for Parker.
How many kids are in the 8th grade?
About 250.
Oh, so 3/4. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's not usually a lot of kids left behind when we're gone.
And if your family chooses not to go on it, like we do offer school those days. I think we get roughly around 7 8th graders that show up those days. We don't really count it against you. But sometimes families say, hey, you know what? Like, we're going to take our family to DC in the summer. We're just going to stay home for those days. It's fine by us too. But we do offer school those 3 days as well. So you're more than welcome to come with us.
All right, well, I don't see any other hands. If you have other questions you want to come up and ask, please do so. Otherwise, we'll let you go for tonight. Thank you very much for coming.